Okay, everyone, thank you so much for coming to the concert today. This has been a tradition at SAR for many years. I think ever since I started at the school 17 years ago, I've been giving a concert every year for my students to show my appreciation for all the hard work that you've done this year. And let's think about how much we learned this year in our physics classes. I know everyone here studied mechanics with great depth, and electricity and magnetism. And some of you in mathematical physics, there were optional work to do thermal physics and optics. So we learned so much physics this year. Think about that. You know, when you started, you knew nothing about physics. And at the end, you had a considerable knowledge for the first year. So, in our first term, who was our hero? Who was the founder of the mechanics work that we did in the first term? Go, Zakaria.
Mr. Newton.
Mr. Isaac Newton. And why is Mr. Newton so great? What makes him such a colossal figure in the history of the world? Does anyone remember from our course? Go ahead. Four laws. Yes. You can solve any problem. Mr. Newton gave us 4 laws of physics. And with these 4 laws, we can solve any problem in mechanics. So, in a sense, and I told you this in class, Mr. Newton is a culminator. He comes on the scene of about 150 years of mechanics work, and he sums it up. He says everything in mechanics can be learned and studied by using 4 laws. So this type of culmination was happening in other areas of knowledge too. In art, in music, in other branches of learning, people were summing up their disciplines around the time of Newton, which was around the 1700s. Does anyone knows anything about keyboard music? Does anyone know who are the big summer uppers for the music for the keyboard around this time, around 1700? Go ahead. Johann Sebastian Bach, a colossal figure in music. He looked backwards to everything that had come before him, and he summed it up in his music. He's a summer upper. But there's a second summer upper around this period. Does anyone know who it is? Anyone happen to know about the Baroque keyboard music? So the second summer upper, who is again a colossal figure around this time in music, his name is George Frederick Handel. How many people have heard of Handel? Anyone heard of him? How many people have heard of Bach? More people heard of Bach. So I'm not going to play you Bach today, although he's a very wonderful composer, but I'm going to play you the music of Handel. Does anyone know why I chose to play Handel? Go ahead, Gabe.
He was British, and Sir Isaac Newton could have heard him.
Right, so that's very good. That's the reason. So Bach and Handel were both born in Germany, but Bach stayed in Germany all his life. And Handel decided around the age of 30 to go to London. And why did he go to London? Why was that such a desirable place to be? Anyone know? Around London, around 1700? A lot of people in London were in charge of the shipping merchants. And they were traveling on the seas and delivering goods all over the world and making a lot of money at that. So if you went to London, there were a lot of rich people, and you could make music. Like he was in charge of the opera in London, Mr. Handel, and when he made the opera, he charged money, and the rich people could afford to pay it, and therefore he made a reasonable living as a composer. So that's the big difference, from my point of view, for today's concert, between the music of Bach and Handel. Bach stays in Germany, and Handel travels to London. And since he was there at the same time as Mr. Isaac Newton, it is conceivable that Newton could have attended one of Handel's concerts. So this is music that was written currently with the work of Isaac Newton. So by listening to the concert today, you'll get a better appreciation of the culture of the times. It's not just a bunch of equations, but things were happening, arts, music, politics, and if you know the whole picture, you can have a much better sense of what the times were like. So let me tell you a little bit about this music. So all the music around 1700 for the keyboard that was written by Mr. Handel is organized in two parts. There's an A part and a B part. And when you play this correctly, you play the A part and repeat the A part, and then you do the B part and repeat the B part. So in this way, they were able to get a lot of music out of a little amount of notes. So listen for that. When you listen to these pieces, listen for a big section that finishes, and then we repeat that, and then we go to the second section, which terminates also, and then we repeat that as well. Second thing about this music is it has a lot of ornaments. And ornaments are little squiggles in the music which make it very majestic and attractive. So a squiggle could be something like this. They're little squiggles, little ornaments, and the music is permeated with them, and it adds a lot of interest to the music. And finally, I'm going to play for you 4 pieces today. 2 are very sad, they're in minor keys, and 2 are very happy, they're in major keys. And this is kind of like, if you think about it, your journey in physics. At the beginning, you didn't know anything. It was confusion. And then when you come to the end of the year, you are more confident, you come through a whole course of study, and you have a feeling of accomplishment. But also, in another way, it's significant, because each of you lived through the pandemic. And remember those years of the pandemic when we had them? It wasn't so pleasant, right? You had to learn at home, glued to the screen, couldn't move. It was very depressing. And then, afterwards, we come to these times, which are much more pleasant than those early days of the pandemic. So as you listen to this concert, think about all that. Think about all the different music and physics that we learned, and hopefully you'll have a better understanding of the period and the context for the physics that we learned. So enjoy the concert.
I'm going to take the mask off because it helps a little bit to play.
Whoa.
So
Sorry.
just bear with me for a second here. That's a little easier. Thank you. Okay. Now we go to the second piece. Still kind of sad, but a little bit less so. How many people heard the A section, and then the repeat of the A section, and then the B section, and then it's repeat? Raise your hand if you heard that. Someone hear that? Very good. Keep listening to that, because it's all the time in Handel's music.
I think so, yeah. I hear it in the sound.
And actually, let me take this off too. Why not?
Now we're getting crazy.
Now we come to the two more happy pieces. The first one is kind of sentimental. Happy but sentimental. And the second one is really joyous. So here we go. And how many people heard the A section repeat, B section repeat? Is it becoming more familiar? Yes? Raise your hand. You heard that? Okay, good. And aren't those ornaments adding so much to the music?
Yeah, so majestic.
Okay, here we go. Sentimental and less sad. much. And now we come to the final one, which is the most cheerful of them all, which is sort of in resonance with this time of the year. came all this way. We have nothing else to do here but to listen to my concert. So I thought I would play you one more.
Why not?
And this is something that I wrote. And actually, it's a mixture of the ornamental style of the Baroque with more modern chords. So I hope you'll enjoy it.